Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. So I've got I've got Mark Springer and Katie Coles. Mark is the CEO of Avatar Nutrition, and Katie Coles is the Chief Science Officer of Avatar Nutrition. All right, Mark and Katie, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having us.
All right, give us a little flavor for the background of both of you, and then we've got a couple of segments that we can work through, and then I have a lot of questions I want to walk through with you. Please, Mark, start us off, and then bring in Katie.
Yeah, sure. So just a little bit of background on myself. I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, and throughout life, one of the things that I really found was most important to me was just finding a way to help people. I've always liked fixing things, and I've always liked doing what I can to make people's lives a little bit better. And as time went on, I found fitness, I found nutrition, had a turnaround in my own life, and wanted to be able to give that gift back to as many people as I could. And that's ultimately what kind of planted the seeds for Avatar.
Okay. Katie, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Oh, yeah. So I have a very similar background in terms with struggling with nutrition and getting fit. So I have my master's degree in nutrition, and I'm a registered dietitian. And I was bit by the nutrition bug when I started doing pole vaulting in college and was trying to eat to perform. And then after that, started doing fitness shows. During that time, I developed a really bad eating disorder, struggled with emotional eating and binging, and just understanding exactly what to do to lose weight and keep it off. And that's why Mark and I worked to develop the Avatar Nutrition System, was to help people understand how to do that.
Okay, tell us about the system. I was looking through your website, and it looks very interesting.
Yeah, so I'll kind of segue here with the problem, because I think when you really understand the problem, you'll understand how Avatar works to solve that.
Sure.
So, you know, you're probably aware of this, but most people who go on diets fail. And it's not that people can't lose weight, because they can. They find ways to lose weight, but they can't keep it off. 1 year after people have lost a significant amount of weight, 70% of those people tend to relapse and gain the weight back. After 2 years, that rises to 85%. And after 3 years, it's, right around 95, 96%. So people are just failing to keep lost weight off. And that's because they're losing weight in a way that's not sustainable. So whatever you do to lose weight, you need to be able to continue to do to keep that weight off. And we all know people out there, maybe friends, family, maybe yourself, that have gone on a diet in the past. And diets usually restrict foods, things like carbs. So they say, you can't eat white flour, you can't eat sugar anymore. Fat, go on low-fat diets. And then in general, people just eating clean, just trying to cut out certain foods and eat healthy. And none of that really works in the end, because it's not something that people tend to be able to do forever. I mean, eventually you're going to break down. You're going to want to reach for that beer, have some pizza, go out with your friends, eat socially, and then you fall off the wagon. People end up feeling guilty, binging, and gaining more weight than they lost. So that's really the problem. And what makes Avatar different is that we're advocating a new way of eating where you don't have to cut out the foods you love. And this all comes down to this idea that your body doesn't morally judge food, so it doesn't see food and categorize it as healthy or unhealthy when you eat it, right?
Right.
It just breaks down that food. It breaks it down into carbs, protein, and fat, and then it allocates those calories accordingly. So we advocate flexible dieting, just a completely different way of eating where you don't have to cut out those foods you love.
All right. Let's experience. What are your experiences of growing the business in the health and fitness industry?
Oh man, so that's a great question. This was entirely bootstrapped and self-funded. When we started this thing out, sold everything that we owned to try to generate enough capital to where we could get the very first version of our website up. And things didn't always go according to plan. And I can't tell you how many times that this should have failed and things should have fallen apart. And we just ran into difficulty after difficulty trying to get this thing going. Because to be honest with you, my background is liberal arts with a concentration in humanities and social thought. And the reason why I went that route was because I got weeded out of my business school because I just wasn't an accounting guy. So a lot of this was kind of learn as you go, but remembering the mission. There's a great quote, but if you know your why, you can make it through any how. And that's ultimately what this was always falling back to that why of wanting to try to make an impact on real people's lives and just getting back up one more time than you get knocked down. But this industry is full of a lot of greasy marketers is a good way to put it, and people who aren't really interested in helping others. Their main interest is just making a quick buck. But I'm sure there's plenty of get-rich-quick schemes out there. It's just the same thing in the health and fitness industry. Get fit quick, but that doesn't exist either. So what you have to do is take a smart, scientific, and sustainable approach at anything that you're doing. And so in terms of building a business, we always wanted to just find a way that we can make a real difference, know why we're doing it, and do it in an ethical way. So that was something that's just totally a part of our DNA as a company, is making sure that you do things the right way and you do things in a way that, anybody in your family would be proud of.
Well said, and I really appreciate the passion that both of you have in this. What about, I'm on your homepage, and it says, create my avatar. Walk me through that.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
So basically, just a quick overview of that whole thing is that we kind of act like a personal coach, but we're a digital nutrition coach. So we're a system. And basically what we do is when you sign up, we gather information from you, such as your gender, your age, your height, your weight, your body fat percentage, how active you are, what your actual goal is, whether it's to lose fat, put on muscle, or improve your metabolism, how fast you want to do those things. So, for example, if your goal is weight loss, how quickly you'd like to lose weight, how much weight you'd like to lose each week. And we take all this information that you give us, and we recommend how much you should eat. And then how we act like a personal coach is that each week you weigh in with the system and enter your new body fat percentage and your new weight. And just like a personal coach, our algorithm adjusts how much you need to eat to make progress.
Yep.
So let's say that your goal was fat loss and you wanted to lose 1.5 pounds a week. And let's say the first week you only lose 1 pound. So what the system would do is it would detect that you didn't quite lose enough weight, and it would change the recommendations for how much you need to eat accordingly in order to get you to lose that weight. So we continually adjust and get to know your body as you go along with the system.
So does it also, when it says eat, I want to drill down on that one, because does it mean eat this, and this? I mean, does it help you plan out your diet, or is it just saying this is the weight? I mean, let's get some more color on that.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I'm really glad you asked. I hope we have enough time to cover that.
Well, if we don't, we'll pick it up on the other side of the break. We got about a minute on this one, though.
All right, so it's how much carbs, protein, and fat you need to eat. And that's what all food is made of, just carbs, protein, fat. Your body needs a certain amount of each in order to function properly. So if you're trying to lose weight, you need a certain amount of protein because it boosts your metabolism. It helps you to build muscle and keep that muscle so that the fat you're losing, it's purely from fat, not just water weight or not losing muscle. You need a certain amount of carbs to give you energy, keep your brain functioning. And of course, you need a certain amount of fat so that you don't end up sabotaging the hormones that are going to help you lose weight. So we calculate the exact amount of each, and then we have an app that you log your food into. You just put what you eat in, plug it in, and it spits out the number of carbs, protein, and fat. So you're working to hit a target that we recommend, and it's super easy with our app.
Wow. All right. I have a lot more questions, but let's do those on the other side of the break. We'll take it from there, okay?
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
All right. You've been listening to Mark Springer and Katie Coles. Mark's the CEO, and Katie is the Chief Science Officer of AvatarNutrition.com. Brought to you by CEO Money. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. I am talking with Mark Springer and Katie Coles of Avatar Nutrition, AvatarNutrition.com. All right, I'm looking through your website. I'm trying to download your app right now. Actually, I'm not having a problem. I just didn't put my password in. It's working. It'll come through. I'm going to join, and I wanted to understand a little bit more about the how you work through the metabolism change and how you keep pace with that. I know it's all in the algorithm. But tell us, mere mortals, how it really works.
This is
I could actually speak to that one really quick. So what's really interesting is every time that we give you a set of numbers, so your protein, your carbohydrate, and your fat, when you eat that each week, we are expecting to see a certain result from you. So when you weigh in, you give us your body weight and your body fat percentage. We're going to compare what we predicted to happen versus what actually happened. And so then that information goes back into our software, and we'll crunch the numbers and then run those adjustments and send you your new targets. And so every single time you weigh in, the system is getting more and more and more locked on to exactly where your metabolism is at in that given week.
Okay, I get it. So it depends on if you're highly active. Like, let's say I do a lot of biking and river rafting one week. It's going to fluctuate, and it's going to keep a gauge with that fluctuation. Is what I'm hearing, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Metabolism. A lot of people tend to say, "Oh, I have a slow metabolism," or "I have a really fast metabolism." But what is really happening is your metabolism changes over time. So like a lot of people, as they age, they lose muscle mass, they become less active, and you start to burn fewer calories. Same with people who diet. So this is the problem with dieting is that, especially with yo-yo dieters, like a lot of women go on crash diets repeatedly throughout their life, and when you're eating less food, it trains your body to burn through less food. So it starts to burn through fewer and fewer calories, your metabolism slows down, and you can only drop calories so far to lose weight. And then you just become miserable and you hit that weight loss plateau. And so what we offer that is really cool for people who kind of have this crashed metabolism and folks having trouble with dieting and losing weight is something called reverse dieting, where we can actually improve your metabolism through this process where we gradually increase calories. And I know that sounds totally counterintuitive, like, okay, if I'm eating more, aren't I going to gain weight? Well, the thing is, if you increase calories slowly enough, it'll train your metabolism to get faster and train your body to burn through more food, but you won't actually gain very much weight because you're only moving up by like 40 or 50 calories a week. So it's a very, very controlled process. But it's important for people to understand, like, just like your metabolism can slow down because of years of dieting, it can also speed up by overeating just a tiny bit, and then you won't get that same level of weight gain. So we actually hold people's hands through the process of reverse dieting and help them improve their metabolism while keeping, this weight that they've lost with their diets off and keeping people from gaining weight.
I get it. I really love that. I'm on your app, and I've never seen one where you slide the bar and you can pick out your body type. That is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 3D image. Cool, huh?
It is. It's very cool. I'm gonna go through it. I'm not gonna spend time on the show doing that. Tell me about the tribal mentality.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, Mark
so
can speak to this.
Yeah, I'll get this one. So one thing that I really wanted to do with Avatar and that we're really trying to build here is a strong sense of community within our members. And so we have a lot of different ways that we're doing this. There's people who are meeting up in person and having groups where they'll talk about different strategies that they've adopted within Avatar to see further success. We have our own Facebook community where people are sharing their stories and their transformations and just really talking about different adversities that they've run into during this process and how they overcame them. Because a lot of times what you'll find is that there's somebody who has a very similar story to you that just happens to be maybe a year or maybe even a few months ahead of the game. So you have something that you can look to as an aspirational figure and say, you know what, that person's in the same boat that I'm in right now. Only here's what happened when they stuck to Avatar for like 6 months or a year or whatever. I can see what their results were, and I know that I can do the same thing. And so when you have that tribe mentality, you just see all the different things that you could do and the life that you want to live and just seeing how you can get there. It's just amazing having those examples in real time from real people. There's even people who are basically becoming pen pals through this, but it's just really neat to see all the communities and sub-communities that have formed as a result of that.
I get it. Your nutrition system, the Avatar nutrition system, I know that you probably went out and looked at the other nutrition systems out there. Talk to us about how it stacks up. The plus, the weaks, the weaknesses, the strengths. How it's stacking up against the people that you have to go head to head with out there in your industry sector.
Well, I think we're quite a bit different than anybody else. The first thing that comes to mind for me is that most diets work by restricting something, asking you to cut out a certain type of food, which, we don't do. And we don't give meal plans. You asked a little bit, is Avatar a meal plan? Well, no, we don't believe in giving that because that's not something you can stick to for the rest of your life. You're going to get this meal plan. You're going to get tired of it. You're going to say, I want some other foods other than this. You might run out of that in your pantry. You might go on a trip. You might go out with friends or go to a business dinner for lunch, and you're not going to be able to stick to that. We believe that dieting should be totally sustainable, and that's why we allow people to eat whatever they want as long as they hit those protein, carb, and fat targets. They basically fill out that menu themselves, and they learn how to do it. That's the important thing, is that we're not just giving a plan. We're teaching people how to eat for the rest of their life, how to eat intuitively for their needs, and you start to learn what's in your food. So what foods are good source of protein, which ones have way more calories and fat than you thought. And once you have those tools, you have them for the rest of your life.
Got it. All right, I've signed up. I'm going to fill out the rest of the rest of the information that you asked me for in the app, and I have an idea real quick because I've got to hop. But why don't we just check in with each other on the show every so often? We'll see how well I'm doing with you.
Perfect.
And that sounds like fun.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, Katie, thanks for being a guest. We'll talk real soon.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Mark Springer and Katie Coles, avatarnutrition.com. You can get the app. Just go to your app store, download it. I just did it on the show. Don't worry. It's very easy.